Ladies and gentlemen, let us embark on a challenging but necessary journey. Today we address a topic that, while often shrouded in discomfort, carries the weight of transformative potential. The weaknesses of men, as seen through the eyes of honesty, are not failings to be shunned, but truths to be understood. Truths that must be faced if we are to build stronger bridges between men and women. Men are not monoliths of invulnerability. Beneath the armor of stoicism lie insecurities, fears, and vulnerabilities. These are not signs of failure, but markers of our humanity. It is in acknowledging these weaknesses, our struggles with purpose, emotional isolation, pride, and fear of inadequacy, that we find the seeds of growth. This is not a call for condemnation or blame. On the contrary, it is an invitation to deeper understanding, one that demands courage and reciprocity. For when men and women come together, not as adversaries, but as allies, armed with compassion and insight, we pave the way for shared strength and fulfillment. So let us proceed, not with judgment, but with open minds and hearts. Only then can we illuminate the path forward. Men often find themselves grappling with the heavy burden of unspoken expectations, a weight that can shape their actions, self-perception, and relationships. These expectations, often implicit rather than explicit, emerge from societal norms, cultural traditions, and personal relationships. From a young age, men are often conditioned to embody strength, resilience, and an unwavering sense of direction. They are taught, sometimes subtly, and other times overtly, that their value is measured by their ability to provide, protect, and succeed. And this objectification leads to hold them back, because looking for the outside proof doesn't put you in the acorn. This unrelenting pressure can lead to a sense of inadequacy when they perceive themselves as falling short. The expectations are rarely articulated in ways that allow for dialogue or negotiation, leaving men to navigate a maze of assumptions that can feel both suffocating and isolating. Monsters should not rule the world. They do, and they were not meant to rule us in the first place. Whether it is the demand to excel in their careers, the pressure to be emotionally stoic in the face of adversity, or the unyielding call to fulfill traditional roles within the family, these burdens often go unacknowledged, even by those closest to them. And what makes these expectations particularly insidious is their invisibility. Men may not even fully realize they are carrying this load until the weight becomes unbearable. The lack of open communication about these pressures only exacerbates the issue, as men may feel they have no outlet to express their struggles or seek understanding. So, the fear of inadequacy and failure is a deeply ingrained challenge that many men face, often quietly and alone. Society tends to tie a man's worth to his accomplishments, his ability to succeed in his career, provide for his family, and excel in other areas of life. This creates a powerful internal drive, but also an equally powerful fear, the fear of not being enough. This fear often starts early, as boys are socialized to believe that their value lies in their performance. It could be excelling in sports, achieving academic success, or mastering a skill. As they grow older, the stakes increase and the pressures multiply. A man may worry about meeting the expectations of his partner, being a role model for his children, or earning the respect of his peers. Every misstep or perceived failure can feel like a personal indictment, a confirmation of his worst fears. The fear of inadequacy is not just about external pressures. It often intertwines with a man's internal dialogue. Self-doubt can creep in, magnifying every mistake and overshadowing his achievements. This fear can lead to a reluctance to take risks as the potential for failure looms too large. It can also create a sense of isolation, as admitting these fears might feel like admitting defeat, an act that runs counter to societal notions of masculinity. The struggle with emotional vulnerability is a profound challenge for many men, rooted in societal norms that often discourage open emotional expression. From a young age, boys are frequently taught to suppress their emotions, receiving messages, both subtle and overt, that equate vulnerability with weakness. The phrase "man up" becomes a mantra, a constant reminder that showing emotions like sadness, fear, or even deep joy might lead to judgment or rejection. This conditioning fosters a barrier to authentic emotional experiences and connections. When men suppress their emotions, they often find it difficult to process them constructively. Over time, these unaddressed feelings can manifest as frustration, anger, or even withdrawal, creating a cycle of emotional isolation. This isolation not only impacts their mental well-being, but also their relationships, as partners and loved ones may struggle to understand or connect with someone who appears emotionally distant. Moreover, the reluctance to be vulnerable can limit a man's ability to seek help during times of need. Whether it's reaching out to a friend, a therapist, or a partner, the fear of being perceived as weak often prevents these steps. In trying to uphold the image of strength, many men unknowingly trap themselves in a lonely struggle, missing out on the healing and growth that comes from emotional honesty and openness. The weight of misplaced pride and ego is a common struggle for men, often influencing their decisions, relationships, and sense of self. Pride, when rooted in a healthy sense of accomplishment and self-worth, can be a positive force. However, when it becomes a mechanism for masking insecurity or maintaining an image, it can turn into a heavy burden. Many men feel compelled to project confidence and competence at all times, even in situations where they may feel unsure or overwhelmed. This need to uphold a facade of invulnerability often stems from societal expectations that equate masculinity with dominance, control, and infallibility. As a result, admitting a mistake, seeking help, or acknowledging vulnerability can feel like an affront to their very identity. Misplaced pride can also strain relationships. In personal and professional settings, an inflated ego can lead to difficulty in accepting criticism, collaborating with others, or showing empathy. It may create barriers to honest communication, as the need to be right takes precedence over mutual understanding. Over time, this dynamic can erode trust and connection, leaving both the man and those around him feeling alienated. The refusal to confront this aspect of oneself can hinder growth, as it prevents individuals from learning through failure or gaining insight from others. Pride becomes a shield, protecting the ego, but simultaneously limiting the potential for genuine self-improvement. And this is one of the traps that high achievers fall into.